Oh, welcome. It's the Lynn Sheryl show. I'm Lynn Serrano.
And I'm Cheryl Eisenhower.
We'll be right back after this. Hey, Cheryl, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's getting to be a springtime here real soon, and I think this coming week is going to be spring ahead.
The 10th.
The 10th, yeah, which is going to be this coming Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting more light and it's getting sunnier out. So I'm liking
No,
that.
we've still got a blast of cold coming in. I was watching on the weather. It's like, just get it over with. And, I'm about to the point, just leave it somewhere. Let me
Yeah.
stay cold. But this off on, I mean, our trees are budding, the daffodils are up. All the above. So a good frost is going to screw up things again. And I'm looking and my Bradford pears have not bloomed, but a lot of them around us have. We're next to two creeks. So this particular lot stays cooler than a lot of the others. So everybody else's blooms about 2 weeks before ours does. But it's strange around here. And I think I'm on the hole to hell or something. I'm not really sure sometimes, but we're always colder than anywhere else, and which is good in the summer. It stays a little cooler, but it throws our season back. Now up high, the trees, get the same weather. It's down low, so everything up there is starting to bud. Everything down here is just hanging around. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of days.
Well, it's funny because, with Sunday changing the time change, it's the same thing goes there, whether you're ready or not, things change, which I think it'll wrap into the topic that you picked here, you know, whether you like it or not, or you're ready or not, the clock is going to change, right? So
Well,
then I don't know where you brought this part in, but I'm going to ask, like whether you're ready or not, and that's going to change. What moment do you get onto the program that the clock changed and you got to get used to the new time, So I'll pass that on to you.
the main reason I said that is because things, I interview for people, and a lot of times these people give me really good ideas. We got to talking about one of my questions asked about a moment that either changed you or what, where you failed or something like that. And this young gentleman happened to say it wasn't anything that happened to him, but one of his friends started drinking and drove off and got killed in a car. And he said that moment in time changed him forever, because now when people say, do you want to go out and have a drink? His answer is no. I'll go, but I'm not going to drink. So that brought that up. So that got me thinking back about, okay, what moments in my lifetime have changed my thoughts and concepts? One of them was many years ago when my dad passed. I'd been with him for days on end, and this one particular day, he was feeling really good. I think you and I have had this conversation. He was feeling really good for where he was at in his problems. But he told me to go on and go check on work. So I did. And I drove to Charlotte, which is 30 minutes away, checked over I was hanging wallpaper at that time. I checked over the project and got home. And when I drove up in the driveway, they were all waiting for me. Dad had passed while I was gone. And at that moment, I realized I could not control everything. I think my whole life prior to that, after, being doing things at school. When I went off to college, they made me the dorm leader right off the bat. I've always been put in that you need to lead position. And so I controlled, and then I had businesses that I controlled. And so you get in this thing that you can control anything. And well, that proved me wrong. And then, just a couple months ago, the fact of cancer proved me totally wrong again. And it gave me a different look at life. Before it was like go, go, go for everybody else. And all of a sudden I really realized this is a wake up call. You need to take care of yourself. So those are the two calls that seem to resonate most with me. How about you?
Yeah, there's a lot of moments in time that either stop you, or they make, they're like little anchors to remind you. Like, you're moving right along and you're like, oh, and I want to say hi to Robert and Bob Donnell. We love you both very much. Thanks for being here. It's just like it's those things that they change you, but they mold you, and they also just remind you, of what matters, the importance, like when you have a friend that passes away, and you realize, gosh, we get to know people, and we love people. We got the two Bobs on here. I think that's really cool. And I haven't talked to Bob Donnell in a while, and I just got uh and Bob Ward just called me the other day. But it's like you go every day and then you don't get to talk to these people. It's like, you got to take a minute and just say, hey, how are you? Got to stop and smell those daffodils and roses. And it's just like we forget in just an instant, we're here and then we're gone. And just an instant, the memories fade away, and experiences pass by. And it's just, we sometimes forget the value of life, and, things that just, are important. And it just grabs you by the whatever you want to call it. And it just brings back, and I think those moments are important because sometimes we take for granted the mundane of getting up, doing our routine, and, thinking, oh, this is what it is, the hamster wheel. We got to get out of that hamster wheel to, you know, take time to do something different, or get out of our comfort zone, and you know reach out to our friends, and say hi and this and that, because next thing you know is you're looking for your text messages or messenger, or photo albums to remember back those people that all of a sudden are taken, from this earth, and trying to remember those moments you had with them.
I think, and it's amazing how much. Well, the question I usually ask is, I ask them first what they succeeded at, but then the second one is always, tell me about a time you failed, what happened, what did you learn from it? And it's amazing that people, their mind wants to wander off of that, which is fine. I'm just looking at a culture thing for someone. I'm not looking for that answer. I could care less what their answer is. I'm looking to see if there's something in their life that's resonating, because to me, that makes a person more apt to change, is if they've got those moments that are stuck in their time frame that bring them back around to the present day. And a lot of times that question, I had one woman tell me, I haven't thought about this in 30 years. Well, let me rephrase that. I think about this mostly every day, but not in the context of what happened.
Yeah.
She learned from it. And so that's kind of, I learned from the thing with my dad. I learned I couldn't control the world. And number two, I learned that Cheryl had to change a few things. And I'm not changing them fast, but I'm working on it. But every one of us out there has it. And I think we're so afraid to talk about it because people I don't know, they look at you weird when you've got this thing going on. But you don't really have to talk about it. I think the thing is just think about it. Think about those times that changed you, that made you, that molded you. Everything you do molds you. But there's some things that just really squash the putty and take you off into a new lane. And that's
Well,
kind of what I wanted to get at.
and I think that's the thing. I think if we keep repeating or seeing the same story, but if only people would look at it just a little bit different every time you review it, that would be the awesome thing, because then you're looking at it from a different viewpoint or a different side. It would be interesting to review the picture, like
Mhm.
every time you look at the picture, you look at the same face, but this time look at the picture and like look at the surrounding, or focus on an object or something else, because it's so funny how people can look at a room but they don't actually look at the room. They just focus, their focus point is always on the same thing instead of viewing the whole picture. And when you're always just focused on the same thing, nothing happens. But if you center yourself in a different place in the picture, it's amazing how things can shift. And so many people say, I've been to the same place, but I've never seen it that way. Like the eyes of a child, or it's just like amazing when like they say, when somebody brings a friend over to their house, and some kids or somebody will say, wow, your house is amazing, or wow, you have this or that. And you don't realize somebody appreciates something you have, or vice versa, because people take things for granted, and or then they have this newfound appreciation for what they have, or they never knew. It's just getting out of your comfort zone and seeing it through the vision of someone else can bring a new perspective of appreciation. And that's the thing, because if you have everything to begin with, you don't know what it is to be without. And that's why it's great when people do go see third world countries, and see the abundance they have, or whatever. It's just amazing, to see everything from a different perspective.
And the thing that I learned from hanging wallpaper and being in construction is if you look at something if you can live with something for 2 weeks, you'll eventually quit looking at it. Like if you've got a dent in your wall, if that dent's driving you crazy, if you can live with it for 2 weeks, you'll quit paying attention to it.
Well, believe it or not, it's just like I had a smoke detector that would chirp, and it was stuck in there till I could get it fixed. But I kid you not, after 2 days, I didn't hear it chirp until I could get it fixed, And everybody else come in, that drive me crazy. I just, got used to it chirping. And then it was so funny because I had somebody call me, and their alarm was chirping. I'm like, that's your smoke detector. Oh, is that what it is? I'm like, yeah, it is, And it was so funny, but it annoyed me to hear it through their phone or through the phone. So it's funny.
And okay, I've got a piece of luggage sitting right over there. Okay, I brought it back from Puerto Rico. Well, there's nothing in it. I've got the suitcase. I've got to go out of town again in a couple of weeks, so I'm using that as justification for it not being in that closet. Okay, I've justified it at this point, but I mean, not like there's a hole there for you. You just open the door and stick it in. But I've not paid attention to it in a week. In fact, like we were sitting here talking about this, I'm thinking, oh, I still need to move that suitcase. But I have actually had a lady one time that I hung wallpaper for, and she didn't like her choice after we got it on the wall. And she was going to rip it right down, which would have tore the sheetrock off. And I said, do me a favor. I said, before you buy more, give it 2 weeks because it was really pretty paper and it matched everything in her house. I said, just give it 2 weeks. And then, if you don't like it, then we'll change it. she said, "Well, you could have just told me you had work for 2 weeks." And I said, "Well, I do." I said, "But no, I want you to just go with life for the next 2 weeks." She called me back about 4 weeks later. She said, "You know, this wallpaper grew on me."
Yeah. So,
So I think some of the sporadic changes, like I've told you a few, the sporadic changes that I do, like the top of my desk that day, if you live with it long enough, I mean, there's things you won't ever like, but you get to where it doesn't just gnaw at you every time you look at it. But I think we're all justified in doing that. Is that's why, like I say, the suitcase didn't get moved. Why that one glass may be sitting there. I mean, it's clean, but it's sitting down instead of being in the cabinet. But I think people need to realize that if you look at something too long, it becomes part of the background, like you were saying, or part of the picture. And so you just need to look at it. You need to back up every once in a while and look at everything like it's not you. You're a second person looking at something. You'll be amazed at what you see when you're not looking at it through that same eye that you were.
yeah, detach yourself from it, and remove yourself from it. It is amazing. So, in wrapping up our little section or segment today, what would you like to part with?
I want just to challenge everybody to open their eyes a little differently, look at their spouse differently, their children, um, their surroundings. See if there's anything there that they need to move and, and fix. And if there is, do it and do it now, or it'll be right back where it was at later.
I love that. And like you said, what changed you? Every every minute can change. Is It's all a mindset. It's all a matter of letting your mind, change. And like you said, your thoughts just change the way you thought about that before, and challenge yourself. Just challenge yourself. How can I see this just a little bit different? How can I
And
just take
yeah,
what's that?
if you can't, don't worry about it. That's
Yeah.
just get over with it. But you are not stuck in a routine.
No.
You have placed yourself there.
Yep.
Get out.
Absolutely. As always, Sheryl, it's a pleasure and an honor to do these shows with you. I love you very much. You guys, thanks for checking us out. And as always, we appreciate and love doing this for you guys. So have a good one. Love you, Sheryl.
Love you too. Bye bye.
Bye.
You like